I didn't call my son in as he's 16 years old now, so he's in his own world. So I don't call him in as I used to come watch a film with us. I will
That's
say though, he
fantastic.
do have a good teacher. I know he has a good teacher in school. He sent him home with some homework. He gave him a Minority Report, movies he had to watch over the spring break last year. So when you go back and you look Schindler's List, there's a few films that at the end of the day, this film is on that scale. I'm just talking about scale of filmmaking. Big shots, big cast, a lot of extras, great camera movement. But for Fableman, I said, yo, I got this movie about to put in. I want you to come join us. You know what I mean? And he joined us. And look, I heard different people say different things about it, and colleagues in our business for one reason or another. But he really enjoyed it. And I think Spielberg achieved what he had to achieve, which is the desire to find art and to express
Mhm.
it, right? And to never let it go, even, when life is going against you. It's important. At the end of the day, Spielberg, you look at Munich and some of else he actually tames himself when everybody else is letting themselves loose. So that was interesting. But then when you think he's tamed himself, because I think when the guy is going back looking through the film and he discovers what happened with Seth and his mom, I thought that was genius, right? Because here it is, you're watching a movie about a kid discovering art, and in the same process, he discovers life. I mean, Spielberg was out there getting his awards, but I felt like when I was talking to a lot of my peers, people keep pointing out some of the watered down ideas of it. Like, no. With this type of family going through this tragedy, the mother losing herself, you never seen that story with this backdrop.
What's your favorite Tarantino film?
Wow. I mean, every time you make a new one, it becomes your favorite. But I guess I gotta, go back to Pulp Fiction as the foundation that gave me a different way of looking at film. I call him the modern day father of Pulp Fiction. He opened up a box that filmmakers all around the world realize that the rules can be broken to a degree, but still held within a frame. So, yeah, Pulp Fiction, I would say. When you look at Pulp, let me say this real quick, and this is me just talking out loud. When you look at Pulp Fiction, one of the things that blow us away about Pulp Fiction when our first viewing is the timeline is completely broken.
Yeah.
And it really could puzzle you for almost the first few minutes when you're first watching. Like, wait, I thought that guy was dead. What is he doing in the
Right.
truck? Okay. And we haven't really seen it a lot. Of course, Tarantino owned it. You know what I mean? I think after Quentin made Pulp Fiction, he kind of like unlocked the holy grail for a lot of minds in film. Well, I mean, you can't find a better teacher in filmmaking, I think, than Quentin Tarantino. He's one of the great minds of filmmaking, a walking encyclopedia. And that inspiration and that time I spent with him was probably as good as going to any Ivy League college to study, because I got it right from the horse's mouth. And I hope that when we make our show and anything you see me doing in film, you can see some of that energy.
Baka. There was this movie, Sunset Boulevard, and off top, it reminded me of Carol Burnett's character that she used to do. And what can I say? Gloria Swanson's performance in this, I have a feeling that she was pretty mortified by this script when she got it. But in the words of Urban Youth, she killed that shit. I mean, not knowing that the film is basically narrated by a dead man. Did I give that away? I'm so sorry. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. But you really feel for this character. All the cringy moments, you feel so sorry for this lady, but it's hard to feel sorry for someone that finds it hard to really deal with reality or the reality of their situation. To be stuck in a time is sad but beautiful in the same breath. I actually helped Harry Belafonte with his overhead baggage. Are you kidding me? She's big. It's the pictures that got small. Until it all unravels at the end. Well, I mean, you can watch some of these classic performances and take a lot of notes, for one. You can also see how the people before us, like their technique and how they approach the scene, and not just that, just the writing.
Thank you, Cliff, for being here.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Enjoy the film.
Enjoy the film. Helped Harry Belafonte with his overhead. Helped Harry Belafonte with his overhead baggage. Baggage.
I'm a Barbra Streisand fan because when she collaborated with the Gibbs, she made a song like Guilty. That particular album played in the disco era and played in my house.
Right, yeah.
She was a lady that made it into the house, right? And so that's all I knew her as. But when I got a chance to rediscover her, look, a beautiful talent. I think it's a masterpiece. I couldn't watch this film. I remember being a kid and it was an Oscar-winning film, right? And I just remember, like, you know, when you were a kid, you watched the Oscars because your parents were watching them. And you kept hearing the winner is Gentle. I'm like, as a kid, I'm like, what the fuck is that, right? And I never watched it until adult. And once again, like I said, Carmen leads me to musicals. And it led me to this. I think I watched it almost, I feel like it may have played like 5 times in a row. Like the next day I put it on again. Then I went to Italy with some friends and hey, you guys seen this? Again, like I started promoting the movie and shit. And first of all, it's shot beautifully. At the end of the day, this film is on that scale. I'm talking about scale of filmmaking. You know, big shots, big cast, a lot of extras, great camera movement. All that's happening in this film. And then you get the story of this woman who wants to follow in her father's footsteps, but it's forbidden, right? According to traditions, but not really traditions, because her question in the film, and one of the best numbers of the film to me in that opening number is, where is it written?
Tell me where.
He said, where is it written that, tell me where is it written that it is, I can't be what I want to be, where I can't dare to face every possibility or have my share. Like, where is it written? Okay? That why give me wings if I'm not meant to fly? You know what I mean? And her lyrics are so incredible, and her performance of it, and even her melody. I just love. This is a film that is very cultural, meaning it's definitely, if you are of Jewish descent, this is something that's probably dear to your heart, dear to your culture. It's a good representation of the culture. But I would say that, as Joe just said, it's actually powerful for any culture to be able to question, where is it written that you can't be what you want to be?
You can see the weakness of a man right through his iris.
Woody Allen is one of the greatest writers. His way of taking life and making it comedic and making it weird and making us think about it, he does it. Hannah and her sister, he does it in such an awkward, weird way to me. You know, I've watched that movie maybe a dozen times. If it was for the comedy, Woody Allen sitting there, invite his friends over. He wants his friend to, as he says to his friend, well, look, we're thinking we want to have a child and we don't have, we need your sperm. He asks his friend for his sperm. Right? What a hilarious scene, right? And his wife complains to him because he doesn't have the sperm count to have the baby. And so the wife complains to him and says, it's because of your extensive masturbation. And Woody Allen responds, oh, now you're going to beat on me because of my hobbies? He's such a stupid guy, you know what I mean? Of course, Michael Caine, divorcing his wife. People seen this movie, so I can talk about it. Divorcing his wife and then marrying her sister. It gives you the idea that love could be there, but passion and love is different. When you go back to his other film that I think led to Hannah and her sisters, and I'm just saying, I'm speculating, so it's not a fact. But Interiors, you look at Interiors, one of his few dramas, he still have the three sisters. You know, Woody plays with this type of shit all the time, right? Woody, as a comedic genius and as a writer, I think just is able to capture a point of view that I don't care if you give him the time, that point of view is going to work no matter who you are. What blows my mind is just the framing. The framing of his shots are a case. You need to put it in school.
How did you shoot that?
With a camera.
You need to put it in every film. It probably is in every film school. I didn't go to film school, so but if it's not, you have to put this in because his framing is educational, mind inspiring for any filmmaker. And for me, it did that. I said, no, this guy, look at it, look how that teapot look. Look at this guy knows what he's doing. Okay? But seriously knows. You know what I mean? And so it changed me. It helped. It's helping me to this day to become a better director. As I began to appreciate the craft and the art of film, and began to study it as a study, it just opened my brain differently. And when I saw Grace of Wrath when I was young, I turned. There wasn't no Richard Roundtree in that motherfucker, you know what I mean? Because what he did in this film, beyond the great story, the great American story, which, Henry Fonda, leads us to a beautiful story and this travel, across country to find that dream. So we watching the film, my son is loving it. And then he does the gag at the end.
They tell me you want to be a picture maker.
I felt like, for me, as a fan of Mr. Ford as well, I was like, he just put into my son's head something that's so. If you don't like the whole movie, that one scene is like E = MC squared. Knowing that John Ford exists now, and he's going to go dig back in the home library and find through those movies, I can't thank Spielberg enough for that.
Hey yo, what's up? It's the RZA right here. And I'm telling you, tune in Into the Dragon. Bruce Lee, Jim Kelly, John Saxon, Bolo Young, Sammo Hung, directed by Robert Clouse, and a great musical score by Lalo Schifrin. Into the Dragon, right here.
I mean, I first saw it on the second release. I think it came out August 1973. Okay, and I think New York, it made it to New York in August. Well, here's something that's crazy. Hip hop itself starts in August 1973. So
Really?
yes. So Into the Dragon, hip hop has this parallel life. It's the 50th anniversary of hip hop. It's the 50th anniversary of this film. And it's maybe no coincidence that, my first album is named partly after this film, Into the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers instead of Into the Dragon. Yeah,
Right.
It's really a parallel. Yeah. And for me, when I first saw it on the second release, and that might have been like maybe 5 years after its initial release, I was just enamored by Bruce Lee's magnetism. And it led me to go and research his books. He wrote a book, The Tao of Kung Fu, and Chinese Kung Fu, his first manual. This film is his final film, but he continues to be discovered by generation after generation. You said you wrote it in 3 weeks, and that makes sense, right? In a way. It makes sense in a way that sometimes the best lyric comes in 10 minutes. The best song comes in a flash. Well, what's also amazing about the film is what it also launches, right? Of course you have Lalo Schifrin, the great composer of this film. The music in this film, of course, is a character within itself. And he did other films for Warner Brothers like Dirty Harry. And if you go back and watch Dirty Harry, you could hear the foundation of Enter the Dragon composing style. Well, Warner Brothers made a lot of money on the movie. He said this movie, but Michael, you said it cost less than $1 million, and they say that up to date that the inflated value of what it's earned around the world is $2 billion. That's what you call an investment flip, diversifying bond. That's cash rule everything around me. That's everything.
Totally true.
Fist of the North Star, that whole anime series, Dragon Ball Z. I mean, Jackie Chan is a stuntman here. Sammo Hung is just a quick shot here. In this
Right at the
movie.
beginning. Don't miss Sammo Hung.
Jim Kelly becomes, that leads to 3 the Hard Way. Angela Mao. You don't get Rush Hour, right? You don't get Michelle Yeoh.
That's right.
You don't get none of that without getting this first.
Michelle Yeoh.
And I think that I'll just say this about the power of Hollywood, and we all can agree, and we're here, is the way that Hollywood is able to take artists and then redefine them, right? It puts it in a way that multiplies it. Because if you watch, Bruce Lee earlier movies, they're good movies, but this is a masterpiece, and I think it comes from the ingenuity of all the people in Hollywood who's been so studied in film, like Alelo, like Robert Clouse, and even with giving a young guy like you a chance like that, but all that energy coming together with the right talent. Yeah. John Saxon was probably really struggling, right?
Probably, yeah.
But when you put all that talent together, the set designers, the production designers, the DP, you get something magical. And when you get an artist like Bruce Lee, and you put him in the middle of that, it's much more different than putting him in his Hong Kong films, because now there's just a certain gravitas and a certain ingenuity that expands it. And whether Hollywood knew it or not, because I know you guys, I don't want to change subject, but I know you guys are also screening Carmen. And Carmen is another film, $1 million to make, right? But when you put the right artist with the right talent at the right moment, it becomes invaluable. And that's what we're about to experience watching Enter the Dragon, something that's just invaluable. Of course, I mean, first of all, he was inclusive, right? In this film, this is one of the first diverse casting when you have John Saxon, Jim Kelly, Bruce Lee, Angela Mao. You get Korean actor as the villain. You get this diverse cast. But Bruce himself, if you study what he stood for uplifting, for uplifting his people and all reality. I read one of his quotes. He said that at the time, Asian Americans actually was very docile in their speaking up for their own culture, but he wanted to be shattering. He actually said that he likes the way Malcolm X is doing it.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I know that's pretty radical, but at the end of it, as my father said, a closed mouth don't get fed. And I think that energy of showing that the stereotype of what Hollywood was doing with the Asian characters and doing with black characters, just making everybody become stereotypically stuck at one point and not showing the diversity of them, of course, the strength of them. I think that he championed that, and when the black community saw that, right, we saw, here go this guy who was physically able to show his skills, and then also within that world befriend, Jim Kelly, John Saxon. I think it just really resonated with us. And I know that in my neighborhood, everybody got a pair of new Chucks. Everybody was like,
Bruce Lee, who was an American, right? People got to, he represents the Asian culture, but he was born in America, went back, made it big in Hong Kong, and came back to America and took it to the next level again. And when you look at some of those break dance moves and some of the philosophies that he brought to mixing more styles together, Jeet Kune Do, which means the way of the intercepting fist, or also the way of, he combined boxing with
fencing, with Wing Chun.
Yes.
Right. He put all those MMAs together before it was even that. Right. Exactly. Hip hop also is that same type of product, where you do have the soul of James Brown, the jazz of Thelonious Monk. You know what I mean? The rock beat of Billy Squier.
And the crazy thing I would say, now I'm gonna say something that's gonna sound a little crazy, a little esoteric, right? So in our world, we have the major prophets, right? You know, Abraham, you know, Moses, Jesus, right? Muhammad. But
not here.
I also think there's minor prophets, right? And that's the people who also come here on earth for a short period of time and do something that changes the world. And I think Bruce Lee is one of those people.